So far, everything we've done to this point, we've been working mostly with FK. And when we got into the legs, we did some IK as well. Now we're going to be combining those two as we create this setup, which has a full IK FK switch. With our leg, we had made it to where our IK could follow the body, so it kind of acted like an I or like an FK. But in this case, we want to use both. Okay, so this is the setup that we're going to be going with. It's an IK FK switch, and this is the full thing. So what we have is we have shoulder, our shoulder joint, elbow, wrist, all of our fingers, and then we're going to have an IK control here, and then we have a switch control right here. Okay, and what it's going to do is it's going to give you the capability to run an IK, so inverse kinematics, which is great if you want your hand to plant on the ground or stay in one position really steady. Okay, it's not going to be affected by what's down its line because it's having an inverse effect on its parents, basically. So its position controls where it is. So this is really great. But naturally, our bodies move in arcs. So when you're walking and running and things like that, it's nice to work in FK mode so that you can get simple arcs just by rotating a couple things. So if we go to our switch, we'll switch it over to the IK. And now we have IK, or we have FK controls, excuse me. So these FK controls work just like our spine that we had set up. So they're going to rotate down the line just like that. And you'll be able to rotate position, and because you're working on rotation, you're going to get a natural arc at the end of the line. So if you keyframe here and keyframe here, the in-between is going to make this nice arc. Whereas when you're in IK, if you have it here and then here, it's just going to be this straight line that interpolates. And if you want to get that arc, you have to add a few more keyframes to really define that type of arc. Okay, so you're going to be switching back and forth with these using this switch. So we'll also set up just a regular pull vector control that will affect the twist of the IK, like that. Now, the way that that kind of all works and is set up is we're actually using 3 joint chains. We're using one that we've set up just for IK and one that we've set up just for FK, and they control our bound mesh or our bound skeleton. So to kind of show you what that looks like, I'm going to turn on these other joints. Right now they're all stacked right on top of each other. So we have our IK, here's our FK, and we can actually just move. We'll do this. I'm just going to move these down. So you can see this is our shoulder, this is our FK setup, and then if I just grab these and pull that down, you can see. So this is our skin joint, and then this is our IK joint. And you can see what's happening when I rotate this and I'm in FK mode, right? So what we've done is we're going to set up a constraint that is being controlled by these 2 joints are going to be controlling this. And then our switch is just going to go in. It's going to say which of these constraints is turned on. So one will be off while the other one is on. So you don't get a halfway setup like you normally do. So And then if we do the switch and we go back, you'll see it's going to snap to that position. And wherever I move this control, it is going to move the joints underneath it because it is being constrained by this. So that is basically what we're going to be doing and what we're going to be setting up in this next portion and how that all kind of works. So we'll be setting up several controls. The other thing that we haven't really dealt with to this point is, go back here, is so far all of our controls are basically oriented to the world. Okay, we set up all of our joints down the spine, our hip, our pelvis, our spine, root, head, all of those, and even our foot control, we set it up to be using world space. So we didn't have to do a whole lot. With this IKFK, we were very careful about how we oriented our joints so that X was pointing down the joint. So we'd have these nice rotations that happened perfectly down the joint. We want our controls to mirror that. That way, when we constrain our controls to the joints, they're going to behave very much the way we would expect them to, because they're almost perfectly mirroring the rotations that we're using on our controls. So this is going to require a little extra work to get our control to have the same orientation as our joints. So we're going to be going over that. So we're going to be setting up everything from the clavicle down the chain in this manner. And then basically these controls, I've separated out these joints to show you how they look, but they will kind of stand on top of each other. So without further ado, let us jump into that now.